my name is Kristen and I'm with KazeCo-Arts, and today we will be doing textures. So we have our canvas right here that we worked on a few days ago using the royal blue as the base and then the outline colors that go along with this series that I'm going to link right here. We used Van Dyke Brown, 24 karat gold, royal blue, and cadmium red. So we're about to go ahead and learn how to add textures and the two different textures that you can use with using the stencil mandala art. I would like for you guys to join me and pay attention as we're about to do texture on an acrylic pour canvas. The two mediums that we will be discussing today are going to be, this is Liquitex Basics and this is a gloss gel medium. The other medium we're going to talk about is the modeling paste. So the difference between the modeling paste and the gloss gel medium is the fact that this one is a lot thicker. You are able to put this on a plate or a palette, mixing palette, add the acrylic paint into it, and then go over your stencil. And we will be using this palette knife, and you can do that over the stencil as well if you want a harder texture on your acrylic pour painting. But if you want a softer texture, then the gloss gel medium is going to be the best to use. Now I have a video that I did in which I used the modeling paste and it really turned out really pretty, but I believe that I like the gloss gel medium better. So that is what we are going to use today. I am, however, going to show you guys the consistency of the modeling paste opposed to the gloss gel medium. So this right here is by Artist Loft, and of course it's called modeling paste. And so if you open it up right there, you're able to see how thick it is. It's very, very thick. It's pretty much like clay. That's what it reminds me of. Okay, so that's the modeling paste. And then you have the gloss gel medium, which kind of comes out like glue. It reminds me of the texture of glue or, of course, the acrylic paint. So, again, this is what we will be using today. We're going to put this on the stencil first, and then we're going to add in our colors. So, we are going to use the colors that we used inside of this painting, which are Cadmium Red, then we have Naphthol Crimson, and we have Bronze, which we did not use. We used the Van Dyke Brown, but I figured I'd use this because it's closer and it's a metallic color. And then I'm gonna come in, instead of using the 24 karat gold, I'm gonna come in with the gold. So I am going to wipe my fingers off from this touching some of the paint that is on my surface right here. And I'm gonna go ahead and start. So I have my tape right here that I'm going to use in order to be able to tape the stencil down, because you don't want it to go underneath your stencil, otherwise it's going to mess it up. So this is the stencil that I have picked out for today right here, and I'm going to put it directly right here. And it's probably a little bit off center, but if you would like to use a measuring tape or a ruler in order to make sure that it's completely center, of course that is just fine. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some tape right here, but I'm going to leave just enough up in order to make it easier for me to lift up the stencil. So I'm not putting the tape all the way down. Then I'm going to tear off another piece of tape and put it at the top, doing the exact same thing, leaving enough up for me to peel it up easy. Medium to come up to go underneath the stencil. So I'm going to try to make sure that I have it good and taped down. Okay, and I'm going to put my gloss gel medium. Now this is what I do. You can always put it in a different place, like on a mixing palette, but I'm gonna hold this down first as best as possible. And I'm just going to spread the gloss gel medium. And it's pretty, like once you get it on there, it's pretty, I won't call it sticky, but it's able to make the stencil stay down a lot better once you have the gloss gel medium on there. And all I'm doing is taking my palette knife and going across the stencil. Try not to scrape it too much, because if I do, then it is going to go up underneath the stencil. And remember, we're trying to avoid that. And I'm pretty sure that there's different gloss gel mediums out there that can be used, different brands that can be used. But so far, I have found that Liquitex Basics is my favorite so far. So again, as you guys can see, I have the gloss gel medium on here. And I'm just gonna wipe this off, and then I'm gonna start to layer my colors on top of the gloss gel medium. Now you want to do this not extremely fast, but as fast as possible, because it will begin to dry. So first I'm using the Naphthol Crimson on here, and I'm just going to put this in the places that I want it to go. And then scrape it off. Now this does get really hard, so be very, very careful wherever you're wiping the residue off. Okay, so I have that color on there. Now I'm going to go in with the Cadmium Red. And all I'm doing right now, of course, you can do this however you want on the on a mixing palette, but I'm just putting it directly on my palette knife and putting it in the places that I want it to go. Now the colors will mix, of course, when you're putting them on there. I'm gonna go ahead and go in with my bronze, put it on the back of my mixing palette, my palette knife. And then go in on the areas that I want it to go. And I think that the bronze and the red, they go like really beautiful together. So I want a lot more bronze in here. And again, try not to scrape the canvas when you're layering this on here. Otherwise, it will go underneath. And then I'm going to go in with my gold, making sure that I'm covering the areas that need to be covered. And then I'm going to add some more gold. I think I have enough red on there. Add some more gold on here, making sure that I have the stencil covered really good. Then I'm going to go one more time back in with my copper, and I will be done, and I will go ahead and lift this up. So I'm going back in with the copper in the areas that they need to go, that it needs to go. And trying to move as quickly as possible before it dries. Making sure that all the parts of the stencil are covered pretty much. Okay. Okay. And now I'm going to go ahead and remove the stencil off of here. And first I'm just going to make sure that my tape is lifted so it can be much easier for me to lift the entire stencil up. I'm going to start from the top right here. I'm making sure that I have enough right there. Okay. Start from the top and lift up slowly. And again, this dries really fast, so you have to make sure that you're really careful. Don't feel in a rush to lift it up, but just making sure that you're as careful as possible. Without messing up the design. And I am done. Okay, so here's how it looks, of course, once the paint is all on here. I'm gonna go ahead and put this to the side. The best thing to do immediately after you're done using it is wash it off with hot water so that the paint does not stay on here. So I'm gonna go ahead and put that off to the side, and then I'm gonna show you guys the results of the stencil on here. Now I do have some paint that got on the outside, and if you do have that, you want to try to wipe it up as quickly as possible so as not to mess up anything. But I'm going to show you guys the final results right here. I'm going to flip over the canvas, show it to you. So here we go. And this is how it looks. Very, very beautiful design. Of course, you guys know that we did this canvas the other day. It looks black in the camera, but it's actually royal blue. You guys know that acrylic paint dries darker than when you put it on. So that is the reason why it looks black opposed to the royal blue. But this turned out absolutely gorgeous. Just showing you guys again how this turned out with the mandala art on here. After I am done, I am going to add on my seal, and the seal that I will be using is called Gamvar Varnish, and this is really good. It is a gloss seal. So if you do not want to use resin, if you're too afraid to use resin based on the fumes and everything that come along with it, this is a really good seal to use along with the clear glaze from Gamvar Varnish. So thank you guys so much for joining me on this adventure. Finish off this series of the black, Van Dyke brown, 24 karat gold, royal blue, and red series. So we have just learned about texture. I want to thank you guys so much for joining me today as we have just created texture on our acrylic pour painting. As I always say before I sign out, number one, stay safe. Number two, stay blessed. And last but not least, no matter what it is in this world that you are personally facing, turn your pain into paintings. Thank you guys so much, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.